So today we're going to be talking about significant figures and the 5 conditions that define significant figures. Now the first condition says that all non-zero digits are significant. So imagine if we had the number 1.258 and say 1.258 grams. In this quantity we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures. So we'd have 4 sig figs because these are all non-zero numbers. And another example, imagine if we just have 1.2 grams. Here we only have 2 non-zero numbers, so we're going to have 1, 2 sig figs. All right? So our next condition states that zeros between non-zero digits are significant. So again, showing you a few more examples, imagine if we have 1,002 kilograms, so just another unit of mass, we would have here, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 sig figs. Because these zeros show up between non-zero digits. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sig figs. Likewise, we could have 3.02 milliliters, and we have 1, 2, 3 sig figs. All right? So our third condition states that zeros to the left of the first non-zero digit are not significant. So what that means is if you have a number like 0.01 degrees Celsius, here we would only have 1 sig fig because these two zeros are not significant. Likewise, if we had 0.012 degrees Celsius, we would have 2 sig figs because again we do not count these two zeros. All right, our next condition says that zeros to the right of a decimal place in a number are significant. So these zeros were to the left side, and now if we have zeros following a number to the right of a decimal place like 0.200 grams, this would have 1, 2, 3 sig figs because these zeros follow a number to the right of a decimal place. Okay? And just to show you one more example for that, you could have 0.023 milliliters. Now, this example would only have 1, 2 significant figures because these two zeros are not significant. If we add another 0 here, however, we will now have 3 sig figs. All right, almost done. And now our last and final condition is that zeros that are not to the right of a decimal point are not necessarily significant. And what that means is that if you have a number like 50,600, we don't necessarily know if these two zeros are significant. So we have 3 significant figures as it stands, but we don't know if those zeros are significant. The appropriate way to write this number is in scientific notation. We can write it as 5.06 times 10 to the 4th. And that would show that we have 1, 2, 3 significant figures, or we could write it as 5.0600 times 10 to the 4th, and that would show that we would have actually 5 significant figures. So those are the rules that define significant figures. I hope that helps. We'll do a lot of practice with that in class.